The word yoga means union. Union means whether you are aware of it or you're not aware of it, right now you're happening here as a part of everything else. What the trees exhale, you're inhaling, what you exhale, the trees are inhaling. Not just on the level of respiration, on all levels this is happening. What you think as myself is just a psychological boundary that you have set up. So yoga means consciously obliterating the boundaries of your individuality. So if you sit here, if you experience everything around you as myself, this is yoga. If you experience all this as myself, do you need morality? Be good to people, don't harm them, don't do this, don't do that, would it be necessary?
No.
Did anybody teach you out of these 5 fingers, this is a small finger, don't cut it off? Is there a morality needed like that? Anything that you feel is a part of yourself, with that you don't need any values, ethics, morals, nothing, because it's a part of you. This is what yoga means. You experience everything as a part of you. When somebody experiences the whole universe as a part of himself, then we say he is a yogi. Charles Darwin said that you evolved out of a monkey. You were a monkey, then you became a man. Some of the genetic scientists are saying this, that the difference, the DNA difference between a chimpanzee and you is only 1.23%. So in that sense, physiologically you're only 1.23% away from a chimpanzee. Not a big difference, isn't it? A shade, it's just a shade of difference. But in terms of intelligence and awareness, you are worlds apart from a chimpanzee. So your problem is just this, you have an intelligence for which you don't have a stable enough platform, and that's why yoga. To create a stable platform so that your intelligence works for you. Right now, you may call it so many things, so many exotic names have come up, stress, tension, anxiety, depression, madness, all kinds of things. All this essentially what it means is, your intelligence has turned against you, that's all. You can give any number of reasons, but essentially, your intelligence has turned against you. If your intelligence was working for you, would you create blissfulness or misery?
Bliss.
This is all. Why your intelligence has turned against you? There's no stable enough base. So the entire yogic system is about this, that you create a stable base so that your intelligence works for you. If your intelligence turns against you, no power in the universe is going to save you, you are a done thing. If you become what you make up, unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your thoughts belong to you or you belong to the thoughts, you must make up your mind.
They can be dangerous, those thoughts.
They're not dangerous, they're fantastic. Only thing is, fantastic things mishandled can kill you. A car can kill you, isn't it? It's a wonderful thing, an automobile. It's made our lives. If you handle it irresponsibly, it kills you. Every possibility is like this. Every possibility, if you do not harness it, it becomes a problem. So the same goes for your cerebral capability. If you do not harness it, it's a serious problem. It's taking away 80% of the human beings are simply suffering. They don't need any outside help. They're on self-help. Understand, when I say I'm thinking this, another word, another way of saying it is, I'm making up this, I'm making up that. You can make up whatever you want, as long as you enjoy it. To transform your life, you want to do it in 2 minutes. So is that what your life is worth? So if your life is worthwhile, is it not important that you invest a certain amount of time and energy rather than looking for this stupid stuff of one mantra with which I will transform my life? It will not happen like that. That's the reason why most people have remained the way they have remained, because they've not invested in their well-being.
So it's a serious long-term investment.
It is not long-term. I would say, if I ask you, is your life worthwhile enough to invest 30 to 32 hours of focused time to bring some basic transformation within you? If I teach you a way where you can manage your chemistry the way you want, but we need 32 hours of focused time, do you think your life is valuable enough for that much investment, I'm asking?
Yes.
Then you must invest, that's what is called in an engineering program. It's 32 hours of focused time. We can format it in different ways, but that much investment has to go in. See, all human experience comes from within, isn't it? I don't know what kind of geniuses thought these things. I know in America there must be a million books telling you how to milk happiness from something else or somebody else but all human experience is generated from within. What comes from within you must be the way you want it, isn't it? Isn't that simple enough, I'm asking?
Yes.
What comes from around you may not be the way you want it, but what comes from within you must be the way you want it. If whatever happens within you the way you want it, will you be blissed out or miserable? Blissed out. See, most people understand complexity as intelligence. If they make themselves difficult, they are supposed to be intelligent. Making a simple thing difficult is not intelligence. Making a very complex thing simple is intelligence, isn't it? So wrong sense of intelligence, idea of intelligence has entered people's minds. They think if they make a problem out of every solution, they're intelligent. No. If you find solutions for every problem, that is intelligence. That's my understanding. So essentially, this whole attitude and questioning and this kind of thing has happened to the world in a big way because our education is confusing people to make them believe that memory is intelligence. Memory is not intelligence. Memory is useful as data, but intelligence is a different dimension. We have gobbled this up, that we have made children believe from a very early age, if you remember something, you're smart. No. A tape recorder can remember everything. This camera can remember everything. This doesn't mean it's intelligent. So, one major aspect of my work is to separate these two. Within your experience, your memory and your intelligence are two different things. If you have an intelligence which is unsullied by memory, you will see everything just the way it is. But if you look at everything through the filters of your memory, everything is prejudiced. People who ask, all this is fine, but what's the takeaway? They want a commandment. We are talking about consciousness. Commandments won't fly. Commandments means you're trying to fix your life. Consciousness means you want to liberate your life. My intention is you must liberate your life. People come and say, Sadhguru, please teach us how to control my mind. I say, you want your mind controlled or liberated? Oh, yes, liberated, but how to control? Because they think that intelligence is a serious problem. And it's been in their lives. So what is the solution? If you remove a part of your brain, you will be fine. You're essentially complaining, I wish I had the brain of an earthworm, this human brain I am not able to handle. Yes, that is a fact. We have come to a place where to grow our food, we need chemicals. To be healthful, we need chemicals. Today, 70% of the population is on prescription medication of some sort. To be peaceful, we need chemicals. To be joyful, we need chemicals. To be ecstatic, of course, you have ecstasy. So we are going towards chemicals in a huge way. The water that you drink is full of chemicals, the air that you breathe is like that, and the food that you eat is like that. So if 90% of humanity goes into chemical consumption, consciously or unconsciously, if they consume a lot of it, the next generation that we produce will be of a lesser quality than who we are. What I'm saying is, the important thing about life, whether it's a grasshopper out there or you, both of us are striving to be the fullest possible life that we can be. A grasshopper is trying to be a full-fledged grasshopper, a human being is trying to be a full-fledged human being. So suppose you cut off one of grasshopper's legs which is supposed to hop, the hopping leg, if you take it off, have you enhanced its life, I'm asking you?
No.
No. So similarly for a human being, if you take away any of his faculties in any way, even temporarily, have you enhanced his life?
No.
So intoxication is just that, it is taking away your faculties for a period of time, but if you continuously do it, it'll take it away for your life. So you're taking away or subjugating your faculties for a little bit of pleasure, or maybe a lot of pleasure, whatever… however you wish to describe it. But the important thing is you're taking a backward step with life, because life can only be enhanced by sharpening and increasing our faculties, not by decreasing our faculties. Our ability to be active physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if this is in any way crippled, this means we are taking a backward step, though there may be pleasure attached to it. Every human being wants his life enhanced. If you don't show them proper ways to enhance, they will find shortcuts. See, a man who goes to the bar and a man who goes to a church or a temple or whatever, they're seeking the same thing, they're trying to enhance their life, isn't it? If you do not show them a proper way, they will take whatever ways are available on the street, that's all. That's why I'm saying it's not a moral issue for me, it is just that it sets you backward. You want to go forward, but it sets you backward.
I hate Plan B because we have so many doubters. We have so many of those people that say no and you can't do it, it's impossible. But when you start doubting yourself, that's very dangerous. Because now what you're basically saying is that if my plan doesn't work, I have a fallback plan, I have a plan B. And that means that you start thinking about plan B, and every thought that you put into plan B, you're taking away now that thought and that energy from plan A. We function better if there is no safety net, because plan B becomes a safety net. It says that if I fail, then I fall and I get picked up and I have something else there that will protect me. And that's not good, because people perform better when there's no safety net. People perform better in sports and everything else if you don't have a plan B. I'm telling you, I've never ever had a plan B. I made a full commitment that I'm gonna go and be a bodybuilding champion. I made a full commitment that I'm gonna be in America. I made a full commitment that I'm gonna get into show business and I'm going to be a leading man. No matter what it takes, I will do the work. I will do the work over and over and over until I get it. What is if I fail, then I don't have anything else? Well, let me tell you something, don't be afraid of failing, because there's nothing wrong with failing. You have to fail in order to climb that ladder. There's no one that doesn't fail. Michael Jordan said in one of his interviews, when they said, "You're unbelievable, you're the greatest basketball player of all times." I mean, tell me about that. And he says, well, you're just mentioning the successes. But he says, for me to become the greatest basketball player, I missed 9,000 shots when I was playing basketball at the NBA games. So during these games that he was so successful, he missed 9,000 shots. Does it make him a failure? No. He's one of the greatest basketball players of all times, but he failed 9,000 times. Do you get it? We all fail. It's okay. What is not okay is that when you fail, you stay down. Whoever stays down is a loser. And winners will fail and get up, fail and get up, fail and get up. You always get up. That is a winner. That is a winner. We all lose. We all have losses. This is okay. And this is why I say don't be worried about losing, because when you're afraid of losing, then you get frozen. You get stiff. You're not relaxed. You got to be, in order to perform well in anything, if it's in boxing or if it is on your job or with your thinking, is only happening when you relax. So relax. It's okay to fail. Let's just go all out and give it everything that you got. That's what it is all about. So don't be afraid to fail. Every day we are benefiting from someone helping us. That's why I said earlier, there's no such thing as a self-made man. I mean, when you think about it, you're born and you need your parents to raise you. You need your teachers to teach you. You need your coaches to do sports. Out of the thousands and thousands of people that helped me, Albert Bussig was one of them that helped me to translate into English so I could fill out my entry form for the Mr. Universe contest. And then he flew with me to London to the Mr. Universe contest. He was an extraordinary friend that took thousands and thousands of pictures since then and helped me in every one of the competitions and everything, was a huge supporter. But this is the kind of people that you need. We need help. We need help. I remember that everything I did always needed help. Think about it when someone says, Arnold, you're the greatest self-made man. I said, you can call me anything you want. You can call me Arnie. You can call me Schwarzi, you can call me Terminator, you can call me Governator, but don't ever call me self-made man. I said, because I did not get to that point by myself. I mean, think about just to be successful in the movies. How are you going to be successful in the movies without having an audience? The only one that makes you successful in the movie is the people that go to see the movie. So how can you say to your self-made man when you need millions and millions and millions of people all over the world to go and see your movies, so people, then the press looks at it and says, this guy is a big box office success. It's the people. It's you. You can only feel complete as a person if you think about what can you do for your fellow member around you that maybe needs help. I felt like that. Everyone has a different motivation why you get into that. I was an immigrant going to America, and I saw how America was the most generous country in the world. I mean, they opened up their arms to me, they helped me, they invited me for Thanksgiving dinner, the people, they helped me. And I saw that firsthand, this generosity in America. And I said to myself, as an immigrant that is being embraced with open arms, that I need to go and make sure that I give something back. Right? Because I started thinking about how did America become such a great country? How did America become such a generous country? Well, I look back in history and I realized that people have fought for America, and people have died for America, and people have suffered for America. And so it's my job now to contribute to keep it as being the #1 country in the world. And this is when I started feeling obligated, and I said to myself, so what can I do? I'm a bodybuilder, what can I do? Well, then I realized when I saw Special Olympics that I can help and train Special Olympians. And so we started getting involved in Special Olympics, and in no time I proposed to them to start powerlifting in Special Olympics, to have deadlift, which was a safe thing to do, and to have bench press, which was a safe thing to do. And it became the #1 sports in Special Olympics, powerlifting. They always have a packed hall of 5,000 people. And I became the national trainer and the international trainer of Special Olympics. And I tell you, I felt so good. I felt better than winning a bodybuilding competition, going to one of their competitions and seeing 100 of those athletes from all over the world competing in powerlifting and being happy. and being included and being felt that they're equal to all of us. It was the most unbelievable feeling, and this is why I got so excited about it that then after that, I started, going around to military bases in America and training our military personnel. Because in those days, bodybuilding and weight training wasn't popular. Now it is. Now when you go to Iraq, to Baghdad or something like that, and you see the American soldiers train, they have the biggest facilities. It's like this dome here. This is how big the training facilities are now. So it all changed. But in those days, it wasn't popular at all. So I went from military base to train the soldiers and the sailors and the airmen and all of them. The more I got into that, the more I realized how good it feels to give something back. And that's when my idea came about after-school programs, because after school, when I traveled to all the schools to train the students, I saw there was a huge gathering of students after the school was over outside the school. And I asked the school principal, what are all the students doing? And he said to me, Arnold, you have to understand that 70% that the kids in our schools, they come from parents where 70% of the parents are both working. So therefore there's no one there picking them up. So that's got me the idea to start after school programs, to keep those kids in school while the parents are working and to offer them homework assistance, tutoring, sports and fitness programs and arts programs, music and painting and so on. And it became a huge success. So as you know, it becomes addictive. So it becomes addictive. So then when they became very successful, and now we have after-school programs all over the United States. Then of course when 2003 happened, where there was a governor's race in California, I said to myself, now is my chance to jump in there and to really give everything. And people said to me, are you crazy to run for governor? When you're governor, he says, you cannot go and make movies anymore. I mean, I know that you can't run the state and make movies. Of course not. He says, well, you would lose all these millions of dollars. I mean, you're getting 20, 25, 30 million dollars a movie, you will lose that. And I say, I don't care. I say, all the money that I made is because of America. My success is because of America. Everything that I've accomplished is because of America. I say, so for me now to give something back for 7 years and not to make money makes no difference to me. I say, I'm gonna do it. And I jumped in the end of the race and did it. And let me tell you something. I'm not poor because those 7 years I didn't get paid. I'm perfectly fine. And it made me feel good that I could give back to America.
I was just an insecure, scared kid. And the only way I could find myself was through putting myself through the worst thing possible. My biggest advice to give everybody in the world is, like I say, we live in an external world. Everything is you got to see it, touch it, it's external. If you can, for the rest of your life, live inside of yourself, stop listening to everything that makes no sense. All these insecure people putting their insecurities on you, you got to flush it out. You got to just be whoever the hell God or whatever the hell you believe in. If you believe in nothing but yourself, I don't care what it is. You got to take everything and throw it away. You have to believe in one thing, and that is yourself. And I'm not saying don't believe in God or what you believe in, but right now, for you to find greatness in yourself, you're not going to find it by looking in a book or by even hearing me. I may give you the spark, but you've got to go inside yourself to find it. And that means you gotta be quiet. Go in a room, stop talking, search your soul, search your mind, search your abilities, and you'll find it. But if you're not looking for it, you won't find it. So you gotta go start your journey. And the journey starts with you finding, why the hell am I here on this planet Earth? Why am I here? And if you don't know that, you will live the rest of your life searching, always asking the question, why? Well, it was pretty crazy for me. It took a while to get to that point where enough was enough. What happened, I came home one night from work spraying for cockroaches. And long story short, I turned on the Discovery Channel. I saw some guys going through Navy SEAL training. And they were going through Hell Week and they were getting their ass just beat. You know, in and out of the water, guys ringing the bell. They were just suffering. And I was weighing like 297 pounds. And I had to make a change in my life. You know, I was at an all-time low and I wasn't going anywhere. And I was exactly what everybody said I was gonna be, which was nothing. So I had to make a change. No one was helping me out. My dad made my mom kind of irregular. So she worked 3 jobs, went to college full time, so she was never around. One time this person drew a picture of me and said, "We're gonna kill you." You're on my Spanish notebook. And I took it to my principal. And my principal said, "They spelled Niger." That was the best advice he can give me. So long story short, what I realized was no one was here to help me. I started shaving my head when I was 16 years old. And the feeling I had every morning when I looked in the mirror was horrible. And I didn't want to feel like that anymore. And how I felt was a kid going nowhere, a kid that was scared. And most kids will accept that and look for help. But the best thing that happened to me, no one helped me. No one felt sorry for me. No one looked at me and said, like this day and age, they'll take you in and they'll tell everybody, stop picking on this person. Back then, they didn't care. The KKK marched in our 4th of July parades. They had to stay 100 yards back, but they marched in it. That's how this town was. And my mom cared about me, but my dad took our soul. And she did the best she could. I had to figure out I wasn't going to be a punk kid all my life. So the only way I could turn it around was to suffer. I had to build calluses in my brain the same way I built calluses on my hands. So I broke the Guinness Book of World Records for pull-ups a long time ago, but I failed at it twice. And I did 67,000 pull-ups in trying to break this record. So to do 4,030 pull-ups, I had to do 67,000 for training for that. And so what I realized is for me to become the man I wanted to become, I saw myself as the weakest person God ever created. But I never blamed God for anything he did to me. So I wanted to change that to be the hardest man ever created. Am I that? I don't know, but you had to have a goal. And my goal when I was sitting there, not going to school, being bullied, having no self-esteem, my goal was the only person that's gonna turn this person around is me. The only way I can turn it around is put myself through the worst things possible a human being can ever endure. And that'd be the only way that I can build this brain to handle anything that comes in front of it, callousing my mind through pain and suffering.
In the end, what would your advice be to that 16-year-old kid who's staring in the mirror, does not like what he sees, but is still running from adversity?
Well, my biggest advice to him is that, first of all, he won't like what I say to him, because I'm gonna say the exact opposite of what today's world is saying. So we read a bunch of books nowadays. As humans, we want to find out how to be someone else. What we don't do is we don't go inside. So literally turn yourself inside out. Read the book that's like we're writing a book every day of our lives, but we never read that book. So what I would challenge this young man or young woman to do is you have to look inside of yourself to see what you really want. What are you passionate about? We use these words and these little phrases of only the strong survive and all this other crap. They're all just f***ing words. I get so tired of hearing people just talking. Like right now, someone may think Goggins is just talking. You don't know me. So when I speak from passion, I speak from experience, I speak from suffering. I have to tell this young man or woman that the only way I believe, and this is just my experience in life, the only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. And some people will get it and some people won't. But they have to see what their journey is to start their journey. Several people live to be 100 years old and they have great lives and they have great kids. Their kids go to college and all sorts of stuff. But somewhere in their life, there was a point where they had a decision to make. They can go left or right on this path. Left was the easy route. right was the hard route. A lot of people take the easy route. And they had a good life that way, but the better life was going to the right side. And you may have 20 years of pain and suffering to get past it, but a lot of us die never truly starting our journey. And I would tell this young person, you gotta start your journey. It may suck, but it will come out the other side where you're coasting. Every day, we're seeing who we are as people. When I was growing up, I lied for people to accept me because I didn't accept myself. So I would make up stories so then you would accept me into your world. I would, everything I did was for someone else to like me. It wasn't until I started reading my own book about how pathetic I was as a human being. I could blame my dad, I can blame kids at school, I could blame having health issues, ADD, my mom not being around. Great mom, but she was doing her thing. I could blame a lot of people. And that's the book I was reading. And I put it off on everybody else. It wasn't until I said, you know what, for me to fix this, I gotta read what the fuck is wrong with David Goggins? Not blame anybody. Read my book and say, okay, I'm afraid of my shadow. How can I overcome that? Go in the military, get your ass kicked, do things you hate to do, be uncomfortable every day of your life. Roger that. I'm not the smartest kid in the world. Okay. Instead of somebody saying, oh no, you're smart. No, don't say that to yourself. I said to myself, no, I'm a dumb mother. Okay, roger that. How you get smarter? Educate yourself. So the things that we run from the truth. We're running from the truth, man. So the only way I became successful was going towards the truth. As painful and as brutal as it is, it changed me. It allowed me to become, in my own right, who I am today. So hopefully I can help people that believe that they're much less than what they truly are. Help them find greatness in themselves. And greatness isn't running 200 miles at a time or doing 4,000 pull-ups or being a SEAL. Greatness is whatever the hell you dreamed of in your own mind. You gotta first see it. You gotta first create this vision in your mind. And then that's when I come into play. Once you create this vision in your mind, it's how am I gonna get there now? And that's when I come into play. But first you gotta create your own vision. And then it's not external. It's the vision created is inside of you. So until you create that, I'm nobody to you. I'm slowly writing a book right now. It's taking me 4 or 5 years because I have so many things to talk about. It's gonna be probably several books. But the first book will probably be about my life story, how I came up, and a few lessons learned along the way. But you know, I have so much to talk about, so much to say, just to give people a lot more than hope. So.
You know, I think that you can pick up from talking to me that I'm not on a different level, okay? These are pretty simple, basic tools. And so nobody out there is listening to him and saying, God darn, he's just using words and he's just so much smarter than me, so I'm not gonna become worth $5 billion. That book is bullshit, okay? He's just naturally smarter than me. I think you can see that I'm no smarter than anybody else in this room. I just use certain little basic tools to be successful every day. Take the word no out of your vocabulary. Worry about your customer, no spare customers. Use the 95-5 rule. Separate yourself from everybody else. Be the bull at whatever you do, and on and on and on. You can be the bull at any position you're doing, and it's just telling yourself, I'm gonna do this better than anybody else. I don't care what the job is. I don't care what you do. You be the bull at what you do. Well, you just gotta keep punching and just take care of your business, and you just realize until they come and shut you down or lock the doors or you can't get product or whatever, until you can't make a payroll. You'd be surprised what you can take though. And you just keep punching, and believe it or not, times, get good. And it goes back to what I once again preach. When times are really bad, we forget they're ever going to be good again. And when times are really good, we forget they're going to be bad again. I don't fear anything, but I worry about everything. And the day you stop worrying in good times, the paddle will get you behind. And so as great as things are in life, I know you're only a few steps or a few incidents away from something bad happening. You can never forget it. I'm taking the next steps right now to get to the next level. Because that's my sport. Let's go play pickup basketball. Let's go to the office and play business. And that's what I do every day. I go to the office and play business. You got to know what you know and what you don't know. And I knew that I understood business. Now, don't ask me to, go win an Emmy. I took guitar lessons for 4 years, and I still struggle playing a guitar. I can't draw a stick person very good, but I knew that I understood business. So I know what I know, and I know how to do due diligence on a deal. I don't worry about making a bad deal because I feel like that's what I know. I think you know if you know business or not. And people ask me, should I go get my MBA? And you know what I usually tell them? You know if you need to go get your MBA. If you don't have it inside of you and you understand economics and finance and operations of business, then you need to go get it. I knew that I didn't need it. It was just a God-given gift. You've got to know your God-given gifts, and everybody has it. Everybody in this room has it right here. So do what you know was your God-given gift and find a way to use that as your path. You know if people know what they're doing, but it's my job to make sure and bring everybody up to another level. And I think that's probably one of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten is that I'll take somebody good and make them better.
Is that a conscious process for you? Like, what are you doing? Is it just kicking people in the ass, inspiring them, leading by example?
All the above. I think I do. You always know where you stand with me. I have all my top VPs probably have been with me an average of 25 years. My two assistants have been with me 27 and 26 years. And everybody will tell you that is the hardest son of a bitch in the world to work for, but I would never work for anybody else.
What would you have to see in them to think it's worth the risk?
I think one of the best things that I ever did was I will look at somebody's resume and I can say, you know what? You've never been with the right company, and that's why you haven't excelled, and that's why you're in here today. And so many people choose the wrong company to go to work for. And I look at people all the time, and I look at your resume and say, why did you go to work for this company? I knew they were screwed up when you went to work for them, okay? And so some people just are not good at choosing the right company, and also the person interviewing them makes promises that never happen. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make is choosing the wrong company to go to work for. Do they really have good liquidity? Are they going to be in business? Are they an acquisition target where all of a sudden that they are and you're going to get bought and probably laid off? Everything is do they have a product that is going to be around for a long time? So everything from liquidity to product, acquisition target, growth, where are you going to go? Everybody should always ask themselves if they want to grow and they just don't want to just whatever is say, where can I be in 5 years? If I can't be at this position in 5 years, then this isn't a good career path for me. Even today, it's all about, somebody said, why are you so successful? Because I sell. And even when you go out and you raise billions of dollars in debt and you're meeting with debt holders, you're still selling yourself. That's what it's all about. You're not just selling the deal. When I was public for 18 years, okay, and you're selling equity, I did 5 follow-on offerings, the most a restaurant company ever did when I was public. And you are selling yourself, and you know your numbers, you know your business, and you make yourself that you know more than everybody else, even if you don't. Let's do it another way. Let's go back to 10 years old. I walked around with my business, my briefcase, full of business. There was no business in it, but I wanted to be a business guy, but you really didn't know what it was. By junior high, I was buying candy and reselling it at school. By high school, I was already trading on the stock market. That's just, hey, doing whatever it took to make money. I always wanted to make money. I always had money, even when I was a kid, because I always worked whatever job I could find, whether it was mowing somebody's yard or washing cars or selling lemonade to the construction workers. It was just always about making money. So at 21, I sold vitamins. I started building homes, building shopping centers. By the time I was 26, I built my first hotel. By the time I was 25, I told myself I'll have my first jet at 35, and I did.
You tend to know more about any deal, anything going on in your company than anybody else. I want to know how. How do you master it to that level?
Well, I mean, I can't get into some details that people know that I don't know, but if you walk into my office for a meeting, I don't care what department you're in, I will pick apart whatever you have. And you better know your numbers when you walk in there with a spreadsheet, or you better have your ads right if you're the marketing person walking in. But you also, you know if people know what they're doing, but it's my job to make sure and bring everybody up to another level. And I think that's probably one of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten, is that I'll take somebody good and make them better. Know your numbers. No matter what business you're looking at, always know your numbers. Number two, realize that we're not successful if that consumer does not come to us, whether they're eating in your restaurants, whether they're playing in your casino, and whether, if you don't have a good product on that basketball court, the fans are not going to come and buy those tickets, the sponsors aren't going to come, and therefore you're not going to have the money to pay for those good players next year. You're not going to be able to pay Russell Westbrook and James Harden each $40 million a year. You've got to always remember, we're only as good as us taking care of that consumer. One of the things I teach everybody, and especially my kids, don't assume anything. People think if somebody walks in and gives you an answer, that it's the right answer. And even when I tell somebody to do something, I don't assume they went and did it. I'll ask them a week later, did you do that I asked you to do? Because that was really important to me. Oh my gosh, I didn't do that. And I think that's the biggest mistake people make, is don't assume that everything's running right. Don't assume anything. You can go to work every day and separate yourself from anybody else. And it's no different than the sound guy on this set. If you pick up, you know what, this sound guy is really, really good, and he's worried about this and he's worried about that, then all of a sudden you tell somebody, you need a good sound guy this, and then they end up on this person because of a recommendation. And all of a sudden, this guy's known as the best sound guy in LA because he's paying attention, or she's paying attention to details that the other sound people don't. No, you know what, I hear an ambulance out there, let's cut it. You know, just the little bitty things. And I just think that it's easy to separate yourself from anybody else, no matter what your position is. If you go to work for a company and you don't go up the corporate ladder, it's your fault, it's nobody else.
Look back over your shoulder fondly and say goodbye to Act 1 of your life, and then quickly look forward. Act 2 begins today. It's your turn to reach out and take the baton. You enter the world at a time of great challenge. Our country is deeply divided, and too many Americans refuse to hear any opinion that differs from their own. Our planet is warming with devastating consequences, and there's some that even deny it's even happening. Our schools and communities suffer from deep inequality. We fail to guarantee every student the right to a good education. And yet, we are not powerless in the face of these problems. You are not powerless to fix them. No generation has ever had more power than yours, and no generation has a chance to change things faster than yours can. The pace at which progress is possible has accelerated dramatically. Aided by technology, every individual has the tools, potential, and reach to build a better world. That makes this the best time in history to be alive. Whatever you choose to do with your life, wherever your passion takes you, I urge you to take the power you have been given and use it for good. Aspire to leave this world better than you found it. I didn't always see life as clearly as I do today. But I've learned the greatest challenge of life is knowing when to break with conventional wisdom. Don't just accept the world you inherit today. Don't just accept the status quo. No big challenge has ever been solved and no lasting improvement has ever been achieved unless people dare to try something different. Dare to think different. I was lucky to learn from someone who believed this deeply. Someone who knew that changing the world starts with following a vision, not a path. He was my friend and mentor, Steve Jobs. Steve's vision was that great ideas comes from a restless refusal to accept things as they are. And those principles still guide us at Apple today. We reject the notion that global warming is inevitable. That's why we run Apple on 100% renewable energy. Thank you. We reject the excuse that getting the most out of technology means trading away your right to privacy. So we choose a different path, collecting as little of your data as possible, being thoughtful and respectful when it's in our care, because we know it belongs to you. In every way, at every turn, the question we ask ourselves is not what can we do, but what should we do? Because Steve taught us that's how change happens. And from him, I learned to never be content with the way that things are. I believe this mindset comes naturally to young people, and you should never let go of this restlessness. So today's ceremony isn't just about presenting you with a degree. It's about presenting you with a question. How will you challenge the status quo? How will you push the world forward? When you look across this country and when you see people's lives held back by discrimination and poverty, when you see injustice and inequality, you should be the last people to accept things as they are. Whatever path you've chosen, be it medicine or business, engineering or the humanities, whatever drives your passion, be the last to accept the notion that the world you inherit cannot be improved. Be the last to accept the excuse that says that's just how things are done here. You should be the last people to accept it, and you should be the first to change it. The world-class education you've received that you've worked so hard for gives you opportunities that few people have. You are uniquely qualified and therefore uniquely responsible to build a better way forward. That won't be easy. It will require great courage. But that courage will not only help you live your life to the fullest, it will empower you to transform the lives of others. Last month, I was in Birmingham to mark the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's assassination. And I had the incredible privilege of spending time with women and men who marched and worked alongside him. Many of them were younger at the time than you are now. They told me when they defied their parents and joined the sit-ins and the boycotts, when they faced the police dogs and the fire hoses, they were risking everything they had, becoming foot soldiers for justice without a second thought. Because they knew that change had to come. Because they believed so deeply in the cause of justice. Because they knew even all the adversity that they had faced, they had the chance to build something better for the next generation. We can all learn from their example. If you hope to change the world, you must find your fearlessness. Fearlessness means taking the first step, even if you don't know where it will take you. It means being driven by a higher purpose rather than by applause. It means knowing that you reveal your character when you stand apart more than when you stand with the crowd. If you step up without fear of failure, if you talk and listen to each other without fear of rejection, if you act with decency and kindness even when no one is looking, even if it seems small or inconsequential, trust me, the rest will fall into place. More importantly, you'll be able to tackle the big things when they come your way. It's in those truly trying moments that the fearless inspire us. Fearless, like the women who say, "Me too," and "Time's up." Women who cast light into dark places and move us to a more just and equal future. Fearless, like those who fight for the rights of immigrants, who understand that our only hopeful future is one that embraces all who want to contribute. Be fearless. Be the last people to accept things as they are, and the first people to stand up and change them for the better. In 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. gave a speech at Page Auditorium to an overflow crowd. Students who couldn't get a seat listened from outside on the lawn. Dr. King warned them that someday we would all have to atone not only for the words and actions of the bad people, but for the appalling silence and indifference of the good people who sit around and say, "Wait on time." Martin Luther King stood right here at Duke and said, "The time is always right to do right." For you, that time is now. It will always be now. It's time to add your brick to the path of progress. It's time for all of us to move forward. And it's time for you to lead the way.